Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Darius Sethna of NordoniaHills.news. As you can see, today I've got my special NordoniaHills.news t-shirt on. This is my final project for NordoniaHills.news and the community. It is my thank you video to all of you who have supported me these last few years as I have been an aspiring sports reporter and journalist, and as I continue my education in that field. I wanted to share this video with all of you just to say how grateful I am for all of you in the Nordonia Hills community who have supported me these last 2 years. It's been an unbelievable journey, and I am so excited to share this video with you, and I'm very proud to be a part of this community for all of my life up to this point. First and foremost, I would like to thank Logan Purcell. I would like to start off by thanking him. These last few months, Logan joined me as a freshman at Nordonia High School. So in his first year, not only with the podcast, but with the high school as well, getting acclimated to a new life. But I would like to thank him very much for all of his terrific work these last few months actually, at the Cleveland Sports Show. I knew I could always count on him for a great episode and great analysis across the board. No matter what sport it was, Logan knew it like that, right off the back of his hand. He did such a tremendous job on the show, and I really appreciate all of his terrific work week in and week out. So Logan, best of luck in your future, and thank you so much for your commitment to the Cleveland Sports Show podcast. I would also like to thank Brady Hamilton and Andrew Thompson. Now, these are names that I haven't talked about for a couple of years, but they were very instrumental in helping me progress in hosting the Cleveland Sports Show. It was actually Brady who was the original host of the show back in 2018, and then I came on board in May of 2018 to join him in the podcast. And just being with him, learning about him and meeting him was such a great experience for me. And he really inspired me to keep the show going and get it to where it is today. I would also like to thank AJ Thompson for all of his amazing work during his time on the podcast. Being there for a few episodes, it just really helps the conversation flow, and I really enjoyed having him on. He knew what he was talking about as well, and I couldn't thank Andrew enough and Brady for all of their help in elevating me to be the best host of the podcast that I could be. I would also like to thank all of the individuals involved in making sure that we had the best broadcasts possible for the Knights boys varsity basketball team. Now, as you all know, along with the Cleveland Sports Show podcast I was doing these last few years, I also did the play-by-play broadcasts for the Nordonia Hills boys varsity basketball team at the high school. And I would like to start off by thanking Mr. Faust, who was the public address announcer at the home games, who gave me so much confidence and was always so supportive, week in, week out. Every game he was there, and I could always count on him to give me a roster for the teams ahead of time, and that was very helpful in ensuring that I had a great broadcast. And even in the school in general, during school days, always being very supportive with a smile on his face to all the kids and all the staff. So Mr. Faust, thank you so much for all of your support and graciousness these last few years during the boys basketball broadcasts. You made it such a positive environment for all of us. I would also like to thank Shane Romero, who, without his incredible work and commitment, those broadcasts really would not have been possible at all. All of his behind the scenes work was critical in ensuring that we had a terrific broadcast. And in fact, this year, Shane also incorporated the live stream feature, which many of you were able to view on YouTube, as well as the Facebook page for NordoniaHills.news, and that required a lot of work on Shane's part. I remember during the games, we would have to set up and then pack everything up, and it took a while, but it certainly was worth it and I really appreciate all of Shane's positivity, his kindness, and his willingness to stay late, pack everything up, and have great broadcasts. Without his behind-the-scene work, ladies and gentlemen, none of this would have been possible. So I'd like to send a special thank you to Shane Romero and all of his terrific work. Shane, best of luck in your future, and thank you so much for your time at the broadcasts at Nordonia High School with NordoniaHills.news. I would also like to thank Will Bussey and Ben Hirsch for joining me this past year as well on the broadcast. It was just great, just similar to the podcast with the other hosts I was with, just helping create that flow of conversation and having it be more engaging for the fans. Really, in the world of broadcasting, the more the merrier. So with students like Will Bussey and Ben Hirsch talking with me during the broadcast, it was just great, and it helped elevate our platform that much more and made broadcasting the games so much more enjoyable, just having that flow and that conversation. So Will and Ben, thank you both so much for joining me this past year during your time at the basketball games. I would also like to thank you, the entire Nordonia Hills community, for all of your support. Whether it was the podcast, the boys basketball game broadcasts, or even the articles I wrote during my time at NordoniaHills.news, I knew I could always count on all of you to view my work and be so supportive, and I can't thank you enough for that. It's been such a great time working here at NordoniaHills.news and living in a community where everyone is just so supportive and inclusive, and I'm very, very grateful to have spent my first 18 years of my life here in the Nordonia Hills community. It's been such an honor being a journalist for NordoniaHills.news as well. So thank you to all of the supporters these last few years for continually, week in and week out, viewing my podcast, reading my articles, and watching our broadcasts of Knights boys basketball. These next couple of individuals are not from the Nordonia Hills area, but still played a monumental role in shaping my aspirations to become a sports journalist. And these two individuals were both based in the Akron area. First, I'd like to start with Ray Horner, host of WAKR, his morning radio show. He's been a family friend of ours for a while, and in the summer of 2019, some of you may remember, I had a chance to do an internship with him, where at the end of the internship, I actually became an analyst for him on the Cleveland Cavaliers. And some of you may remember, every Friday morning, I would be on the show live, calling in the station, and talking with Ray about the Cavs. I cannot thank Ray enough for the opportunities he gave me at WAKR. He showed me behind the scenes of what it takes to produce content and edit content for the radio station, and how critical it is to be exact with the times, because at certain times you have to play commercials, certain times you have to play other content for the show, and I can't thank him enough for all of his wisdom and advice he gave me in that summer, and the advice he's given me since. I'd also like to thank Mr. Christopher Dominic of WMVU in Akron, Ohio, the Radio Free Entertainment Network. As some of you may know, I completed my senior internship with Chris Dominic in Akron back in early May, and similar to Ray Horner, he showed me a lot more of what it takes to edit content, be able to organize content, as well as editing audio and making it available for radio use. So I cannot thank Chris enough for all of his support these last couple of years, and being able to work with him and giving me a chance to promote my work and my podcast on his platform. So Chris, thank you so much these last couple of years. Thank you again for a great internship back in May, and best of luck as you continue your work with WMVU in Akron. I would also like to thank Maria Daloiso, who helped promote and upload all of my work onto NordoniaHills.news. Without her weekly time spent uploading my podcasts, my broadcasts, none of this work would have been able to be viewed by the fans. So thank you so much, Maria, for week in and week out uploading the podcasts that I would send to you, despite sometimes having technical difficulties. I really appreciate you being able to do that. It really helped give NordoniaHills.news some great sports coverage, and we couldn't have done it without you. So thank you so much, Maria, for week in and week out doing that for me. I'd also, last but certainly not least, like to thank Mrs. Julie Daloiso, who has been with me since day one. As you all know, Julie is the the head, basically, of NordoniaHills.news. She's in charge of all the content. She has her own show on NordoniaHills.news, and I just can't thank her enough for all of her help and her guidance these last 4 years. During my time at Nordonia High School. Whenever there was a situation where I needed some assistance or some help on, I could always count on Julie, and she was a great communicator as well. Whether it was via text, via email, I knew I was always going to get a prompt response from her, and I really just appreciate her being there for me at the basketball games, helping me out with the podcast. In fact, it was Julie who did the editing for my podcast early on when I was still getting my feet wet of understanding what it took to host a podcast and getting content ready. So, Julie, I cannot thank you enough for these last 4 years for all of your guidance, your help, and your support in helping me become the best sports journalist I could be here at NordoniaHills.news. It was such a wonderful experience working for this media organization, and I wish you nothing but the best as you continue to promote NordoniaHills.news, not only here around the community, but to Northeast Ohio as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to also talk to you about what I am doing moving forward, because now I am a Nordonia graduate. I am going to be moving on to Ohio University, one of the most prestigious journalism schools in the country, to continue my pursuit in the career of being a sports journalist. And once I go to Ohio University, I'm going to be changing my Twitter handle. As you all know, my Twitter handle these last few years has been at Nordonia Sports. However, because I am now a graduate of Nordonia High School, and now I'll be moving on to Ohio University to continue my career in being a sports journalist, I'm going to be changing my Twitter handle to at @DSethnaSports, and I'm going to put that down in the description below, just in case you forget. It will be at @DSethnaSports. Obviously, my name's going to be the same, Darius Sethna, spelled DARAYUSSETHNA. Now, for the next couple of weeks, I'm most likely not going to be extremely busy posting any kind of sports content because, I'll be an incoming freshman at Ohio University, so I'm going to be joining new clubs, new organizations. They have, a journalism group down there, a sports broadcasting group, so I'm going to kind of get acclimated to those aspects of Ohio University, and then once things get rolling in a few weeks, hopefully, then I will start posting some of the content on Twitter. So right now, Twitter is going to be my Twitter page is going to be my home base until I get all of my SoundCloud work and all of those accounts organized for you to keep listening to my work at Ohio University. But right now, the biggest news is my Twitter page will still be on there. Same name, obviously, Darius Sethna, but the Twitter handle name will be changed to at @DSethnaSports. And like I said, I'm going to post that in the description down for you below. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this video of my thank you video, my final project here at NordoniaHills.news. I can't believe how fast these 4 years have gone, but they certainly were 4 years that I will never forget. As I mentioned, Julie, thank you so much for being there for me. Starting from day one, I remember being part of the journalism and broadcasting club at Nordonia High School, and basically just elevating and improving from there to getting to this point where I was one of the main contributors on the NordoniaHills.news website. Thank you to all the fans and everyone in the Nordonia Hills community for all of your support. On Twitter, I saw all of you guys liking my tweets and some of you retweeting my tweets. I really appreciate all of that. I cannot tell you how excited I am to continue my journalism career at Ohio University. I'm so excited for making so many new experiences and meeting so many new people and hopefully having some great sports content to share with all of you. And like I said, I cannot thank you all for the support you've given me these last few years. The Nordonia Hills community truly is a very inclusive and amazing community to be a part of. I was so happy to have grown up here and go to school here. It truly is a supportive community, and words are hard to come by right now because it was such an amazing experience for me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes my time here at NordoniaHills.news. Don't forget, at @DSethnaSports is going to be my new Twitter handle. I will be changing that shortly. As I said, that's going to be down in the description below in case you forget it. But until I begin to post more content at at Ohio University on my Twitter page, thank you so much for a terrific 4 years. I really enjoyed doing the podcast for you week in and week out. I loved doing the broadcasts for the boys basketball team, and writing articles was a terrific experience for me as well, getting and learning about another aspect of what it takes to be a quality journalist. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful week, and hopefully, if you continue to follow me on Twitter, I'll be posting content from Ohio University there, hopefully in a few weeks. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for an amazing 4 years, and special thanks to Julie Daloiso and the Daloiso family for making me a part of the NordoniaHills.news media network. It was such an honor being a part of this amazing media organization for the last 4 years. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care and go Knights!